This is Stuart, and he owns the very last remanufactured Escort Mark 1 RS 2000. So what's the story? And don't tell us you just happened to pop into your local off-licence for a packet of peanuts.
I was going to an off-licence in Stamford-le-Hope, and I just happened to walk past the car sitting in the back garden, sitting next to a garage, and sitting in the open looking for either for long.
Yeah.
And I thought no more of it. But then a week later I came back and I went and had a look at the car, and the owner popped out, and I said, "Is it your car?" And they explained that it was to do with their son. And I said, "Well, can I speak to your son?" He said, "He doesn't live here anymore." I said, "Well, can you tell me the details behind the car?" He said, "Well, apparently it's been here 16 years, rotting into the ground, because our son didn't do what he said he was going to do and putting a new engine in it for his friend."
Right.
So the reason he needed a new engine was the local road, which is at A128, he decided to chase a Lotus Cortina.
Like you do.
Like you do. He forgot to mention at the time that he was having engine problems. I think he basically got big end problems, and he managed to put the conrod through the block. He got it moved back to his friend's place in Stamford-le-Hope because he didn't have any room, and he said he was going to put an engine in it. The story starts there, in that said friend put a 1600 Pinto engine in the car.
Right, okay.
Wrong engine for the car. It should have been a 2-litre Pinto.
Yes.
So he's sitting there thinking, what do I do? The other friend says, "Well, that's your lot, I'm not going to change it." So he left the engine in the car, in the garage, next to the garage, which was full of wood. Rotting
away for like 18 years?
16
years, right. Okay.
So when I saw the car, it was still locked, but there was only no engine in the car. So something had happened at the time, but the block was in the boot.
Right.
The head was in the hedge behind it, and basically it was just left for dead. And I said, "Why did he do that?" He said, "Well, he still wanted the right engine in it and left it as a testament that his friend had him over."
Yeah, and then a fooled guardian angel turned up in the shape of Stuart and thought, "I'm going to take this car and do something with it."
Any of these were well out of my reach at the time.
Right, yeah. So it was good chance.
So, yeah, I managed to get the keys for the car. I managed to find and talk to the gentleman whose car was. He said, "You're never going to be able to restore that." I said, "Well, this is really the only chance that the car is ever going to get with the resources that I've got."
Yeah, now let's talk about that, because you worked at the Advanced Vehicle Operations Plant in Averley, is that right?
Well, yes and no.
Right, okay.
AVO was the forerunner to the Averley plant.
Yes.
Where the cars were originally built.
Right.
By the time this car came on the scene, it was history.
Yeah.
It was all long gone and buried.
So when you were working there, you come up with this plan though, you had a chat with your manager, and what did you ask him?
I had a word with him over a cup of coffee, and I said to him, "Is there any chance that I could bring the car in?" I said, "It needs a little bit of metal work, but most of it's been done outside. And can I get it painted in the original facility?" I said, because it would be a major coup for Ford if they wanted to use the car for promotional. I said, because I know you haven't got a car.
Right, yeah.
I said, you've got a Mexico, but you haven't got an RS 2000 to use for whatever you should need. I said, and whenever you want it, you can use it for publicity.
Yeah.
He said, "Sure."
Great.
Bingo.
Yeah.
You know? I had to, basically anything that I brought in, I had to have it stamped by Ford Security. So all the paint came in, all got stamped by Ford Security.
Okay.
So I've still got all the paperwork for it.
Yeah.
Over the period of about 2 years, the car got painted in the original facility. So although this wasn't the last car to be made by AVO, it was the last car to be remanufactured in the original AVO facility.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That
so
cool.
this is the last one ever. Yeah. What can you say about that, really?
That's fantastic, isn't it? Yeah. Now there are some features on this for the export market that's a bit different. Can you talk us through those?
They was having trouble selling the cars. By the VIN plate underneath the car we found out that this car should have gone to Sweden.
Right.
Because at the time, they were right-hand drive. One thing is what we're sitting on. We're sitting on Schill seats, which are German export seats.
Yeah.
They're not in the UK.
Right.
Next thing, it used to have, unfortunately it doesn't now, it had heated front seats.
Okay.
Operated by this red button.
Oh, okay. Brilliant.
And then you had a little yellow light that came on, so when you heated seats. But when I took the seats apart, all the elements fell apart in them because it had been left for so long.
Yeah, what a shame.
The car had been locked up for 16 years, and obviously you can imagine the heat created by closed windows. Moving on, to pass Swedish regulations, it had twin lights in the back of the number plate. They had to have a certain intensity, which is not on any other car. Moving to the steering wheel, this is a German export steering wheel.
Brilliant.
It's, if you see any other RS2000, they won't have this steering wheel. It will be a flat metal one without the RS.
Oh, okay.
It's much bigger.
Right. Okay.
So some slight variations in that. When I go to shows, people go, "Why have you got that in the car?"
Yeah. Like it though, because it makes it special. Let's talk about the engine. What's in this? What's it all about? People don't know. What is an RS2000? What is it?
An RS2000 has a Mark III Cortina Pinto engine in it.
Yeah.
So it's a 2-litre overhead cam. The idea was they wanted to do a car that was going to fit the RS brand, but they wanted to do a car that was cheap and luxurious.
Yeah.
The Mexicos prior to that were cheaper car. These were another £700 more, but they had a 2-litre engine in the front. So we had an already manufactured engine.
Yeah.
And they tried to fit it in a small car. Didn't fit. You've got a gap here, which isn't enough to put the original viscous fan that was driven off the engine.
Right.
So they had to do a delete.
Yeah.
So they deleted that. I put a fan in front here.
Yes.
Which was an electric fan.
Okay.
But the modification that I had to make was because the electric fan is now nearly 50 years old. So I deleted that one, added a new radiator, and put a new high-speed fan in it, cool it down.
Right.
Because in our traffic, where, as I say, nowadays we've got so much more competition from traffic, and particularly going into shows, this car would boil over.
Yeah.
So I always used to dread thinking, oh, queue.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But now it'll happy. It'll come in and out the fan quite often, and we're all happy. We don't boil over no more. So that's the mod. I still got the original parts at home, so I could fit them if I wanted to.
Yeah.
And I've drilled no extra holes.
Right. Okay. Brilliant. So we're going to hear the engine now. I'm going to ask you to start the car up. But before we do that, if you have a Mark 1 Escort, an RS2000 or any other Escort Mark 1, please send in your pictures. We'd love to hear from you. You can put some comments in the link below. That would be great. Don't forget, as always, to subscribe. And you can also check out our blog on www.downtobarns.uk. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Right, Stuart, let's hear it.
No luxuries into fifth. We're probably sort of 8 years too far back in history for that.
Yeah.
Even the Mark II RS2000 with a slant front never got a 5-speed gearbox.
Right, okay.
Right?
Okay, yeah. So what sort of speed could this do then, comfortably?
100 mile an hour.
Yeah?
Yeah, in a small frame.
Have you done 100 mile an hour in it?
No. No, it'd probably terrify me. At about 70 mile an hour, you're incredibly low to the floor.
Yeah, so you get a sensation of it moving, don't you?
This has got Bilstein suspension in it, which is upgraded RS suspension, which makes it feel like you can feel every lump and bump in the road. 70's more than enough in this car.
So my next question is, why a Mark 1 Escort? What is it about the Escort that you like, this particular model? What is it that drew you to it in the first place?
I'm of the era where these cars were really cheap.
Yeah.
But not this type. We're talking standard Mark 1s. We're talking 1300s. I really liked the car. They were small, they were nimble, and they were fun. There was no electronics. The only electronics in this car, in particular, is the radio.
Yeah.
So we have one fuse box, no relays, and no other electronics to go wrong. It's basically a big engine in a small car that instantly gets noticed.
Yeah.
It's the paint scheme that everyone looks at and think, I used to own one of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they didn't. They owned a Mark 1. They had a standard car.
Yeah.
And I always wanted one of these, but could never afford one. And when this one came up, it needed a hell of a lot of work, but I bought it. And that's where I came in to this history of this car.
Well, that was the RS2000. But what do you think, everybody? Please leave your comments in the links below. Do you have a Mark 1 Escort? Then please tell us about it. Send us your pictures and get involved. And don't forget to subscribe and become part of our classic car community. See you next time, down at the barns.